Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alex Shapiro.
All right, as Dave Grohl said, here we go. Welcome to Sony's NAB 2015 press conference. That clip was a shot from a Foo Fighters concert in New Zealand with Sony F55 and F65 cameras. It's also playing in our exhibit at the Las Vegas Convention Center in 8K, showing the spectacular images that our flagship F65 camera can produce as an example of our theme, Beyond Definition. Our F55s and 65s are being used more often to shoot live music, concerts, and we're going to tell you a lot more about that later in the event. We're also going to explore the growing use of 4K for other content creation. We're going to hear from some pros shooting 4K for films, TVs, and documentaries. I'm going to see some more footage that will definitely get you all going. We've got a lot to cover this morning, but first I want to acknowledge some of the special guests that are with us today. First, the President and COO of Sony Electronics, Mike Fasullo. The Executive Vice President of Sony and President, IP&S Sector, Shigeki Ishizuka. And the Senior Vice President, Sony Corporation, and Deputy President of PSG, Toshio Nishi. Thank you for joining us today. 4K is just part of the story, but it perfectly illustrates our theme for this show, Beyond Definition. It's the same theme that we used last year at NAB, but that's about the only thing that's the same as last year. No other company comes close to the vast portfolio of products and solutions that Sony offers. We've made some significant changes to our organization, and we have joined forces with our Sony Canada colleagues to share the expertise and create greater efficiency across North America. And the Sony group that was formerly known as Media Cloud Services has now been fully integrated into the new team, Sony Professional Solutions Americas. Their cloud technology platform, known as C, is the foundation of our expanded services, solutions, and engineering organization. Now, our leadership in broadcast and production markets continues to extend into more and more B2B markets. We are expanding our reach into major colleges and universities. We have over 51 students from 23 different schools working in our NAB exhibit, and our recent education projects range from designing production studios to classroom technologies and to auditorium projection systems. Equally significant is our work in the faith-based market. Several leading ministries are adopting Sony cameras and switches for worship services, field work, and multi-site operations. Craig Harper, who joined Sony last year from Belo Broadcasting, leads these efforts in this growing segment market. And of course, these efforts are supported by terrific products and technologies, from the newest developments in XAVC and 4K to IP, high dynamic range, and wireless streaming solutions. Sony offers the broadest line of production tools to meet any need and budget, from the F65 and F55 to the new FS7, and even our compact and shoulder mount camcorders like the X180 and X200. Production is exploding from the high end to the entry level and across delivery platforms. On the big screen, recent high-profile movies shot with Sony cameras range from Annie, Let's Be Cops, The Wedding Ringer, and Dolphin Tale 2, to upcoming blockbusters like Universal's Ex Machina and Disney's Tomorrowland. Sony cameras are also increasing their presence on primetime TV with both new and returning shows. And traditional broadcasting is not the only way that consumers are receiving their content. Over-the-top programming is rapidly expanding, and Sony 4K cameras are shooting original series for major services like Hulu, YouTube, and Amazon Prime. Netflix is one of the companies that's redefining the way content is produced, distributed, and enjoyed. Their newest series, Bloodline, launched just a few weeks ago, and it's shot with F55s. It's got a great cast, and it looks amazing in 4K. Let's take a look. I think it looks like a good thing to put this show on your binge watching list when you get home. Now, networks are also getting into streaming with the launch of online platforms from CBS and NBC. Sony PlayStation Group's new View service is establishing itself with live and on-demand content. The PlayStation team is also developing great original programming. Last month, the series Powers launched, based on a modern comic book story, all produced with Sony 4K professional gear. And since Sony's professional team knows a thing or two about 4K and production, we're announcing today the launch of our own 4K YouTube channel. We've been working with YouTubers providing training and access to 4K professional technologies. YouTube's new facilities in Manhattan and Los Angeles offer Sony 4K cameras for use by diverse productions, and we're seeing exciting new 4K content being created by this community. Heading up the YouTube efforts in LA and New York and managing the newest channel is the newest member of our team, Brett Ehrlich, an experienced digital content producer. Brett, if you could take a bow. As production expands, new technologies are needed to support changing workflows and delivery requirements. MPEG-2 has been an industry workhorse and a staple of our products for years, but mainstream production has now evolved even beyond the scope of MPEG-2. Professionals now have to create content for Ultra HD and 4K. It's not only about resolution, it also involves higher frame rates, higher bit depths, while still maintaining efficient and cost-effective file sizes and higher dynamic range. They also demand a format that balances picture quality and bit rates for longer shooting times, lower storage costs, and faster backup and ingest times. The Sony answer is XAVC. Sony products have used XAVC for several years, making it the most efficient means of production for all frame rates from HD to 4K. In fact, it's the only format that is natively supported in a UHD 60p workflow from acquisition to playout. XAVC has moved beyond acquisition to native editing, native grading, program exchange, and archiving. The format has gained widespread industry support. XAVC is the perfect complement to our established codec options, offering flexibility, image quality, and production efficiency. But a codec is only as good as the engineering talent behind the hardware it works in. Sony hardware has a unique encoding architecture that brings out the best of XAVC and enables the most efficient file sizes at very high image quality. That's what separates Sony's implementation of XAVC from everyone else's. Now, networks have also begun this shift. Discovery Communications now accepts the XAVC codec as a deliverable for finished UHD program master content. And as this list of clients grows, Sony's growing family of XAVC-enabled technologies is ready to meet the demand. Now, let's take a closer look at how these technologies produce the spectacular content ultimately seen by the consumer. Please welcome to the stage Sony's Peter Carithri.
Thanks, Alec. Thank you very much. All right, welcome. I see a lot of familiar faces out here today. How's everybody doing so far? Good? Yes? Excellent. All right. At the beginning of the event, you saw footage shot with our CineAlta cameras. We first introduced our large sensor models 3 years ago, creating a versatile platform that serves owners and operators in every production scenario. We are supporting the F5 and F55 with continual firmware upgrades and new hardware accessories. We're consistently updating our technology, extending your creative possibilities, and just as important, protecting your investment. And now we're continuing the platform's development with version 6 firmware, implementing ProRes RGB for HD acquisition. The F5 and F55 offer more codec choices than any other camera system, and these include HDCam SR, XAVC, 16-bit linear RAW, MPEG 50 megabits per second, and with our optional codec board, Avid DNX HD and Apple's ProRes. Our flagship F65 continues to be used in major motion picture productions, including the second best exotic Marigold Hotel, Belle, and what we're all really waiting for to see later this year, Disney's upcoming Tomorrowland, as well as commercials, music videos, and documentary production. In fact, we have a spectacular clip to show you here in just a minute. Disney Nature's new wildlife film, Monkey Kingdom, used 3 F-65s for principal photography and 2 F-55s for remote work. The film follows the daily interactions of an amazing troop of monkeys in Sri Lanka. The project lasted over 1,000 shooting days, with 2.5 years and 8 months of editing. Every day was spent in very difficult, physically demanding conditions, and the cameras, I'm told, were extremely practical filming tools. Monkey Kingdom started production soon after the F-65's release, and the team's previous Disney Nature films had been shot on 2/3-inch cameras because of the extra lens reach required to film their animal subjects. This time, they wanted a camera with a super 35mm sensor, built-in ND, wide dynamic range, low noise, and the ability to shoot 4K RAW. Robust focus and exposure tools were also a must, and in wildlife filmmaking, camera operators pull their own focus and have to quickly gauge exposure through the viewfinder. Any delay in setting focus or exposure results in crucial shots being missed. What struck the team most about the F-65 was its huge dynamic range, ultra-wide color gamut, and the ability to punch in quickly with a 2x and 4x zoom in the viewfinder to check focus. According to DPs Gavin Thurston and Martin Kolbeck, the greens of the jungle popped with an accuracy like no other camera they have ever used. The movie opens nationwide in theaters on April the 17th, but to coincide with the world premiere, which is actually today in Los Angeles, and exclusively here for you at NAB, and thanks to the team at Disney Nature with director Mark Linfield, we have 3 never-before-seen on the big screen segments from the film. Let's take a look at Monkey Kingdom. How's that for monkeying around? Huh? Congratulations to the filmmakers. It's beautifully shot. We're really looking forward to seeing it in theaters. And a very special thank you to Disney Nature's Matt Scully for helping us get that footage and permission to show it. Round of applause for Disney, please. One more time. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Sony's growing dominance in live 4K concert production is for very good reasons. Global shutter, shallow depth of field, 4K, live painting and signal output with simultaneous onboard HD and 4K recording are advantages that make up a unique matrix required for live concert production. That's just a taste of what our camera systems can do. This is the F-55. Noted cinematographer Bette Turnbull has shot many live concerts with the F-55 system, including Katy Perry, Peter Gabriel, Kylie Minogue, One Direction, Santana, the Rolling Stones, and many more. That's just to name a few. Let's take a look at one of his recent 4K productions, Kylie Minogue. I'll be right back. Enjoy. All right, fantastic. Please welcome to the stage cinematographer Bette Turnbull. Brett. Thanks for joining us. All right, welcome. So give us a little bit of history about yourself. How did you get into this business, and then we can go from there.
Well, I started out as an experimental filmmaker, typically in those days shooting on 16mm film. That got me into music videos, and over the years my career's developed, like most other cinematographers, I shoot commercials, movies, a mixture of stuff. But in the last few years, I've typically become known for shooting with multiple cameras in situations where that's demanded, or in situations where we have an unusual hybrid of equipment types.
Great. So the F-55 seems to be your go-to camera for a lot of these productions, if not all of them. What are the key characteristics that you use to select the camera?
Well, I'll give you an example. Over the last few years, I guess some of the concert films I've shot would have been, 35mm for Madonna, epic 5K red cameras for Roger Waters, a whole variety of formats. But for me, the F-55 is something of a game changer because it ticks more boxes than any other camera type for this sort of work.
Right, so the global shutter, the 4K recording.
Yeah, starting at the top, I guess, there's a cinematic look which is becoming more sought after for directors who work in this field. So this could be film directors, movie directors who've been asked to shoot a concert film, and they don't want to give up the look that they're familiar with. They're used to seeing stuff with a certain quality. Then there are TV directors who shoot a lot more things with multiple cameras. And the moment they see the footage from a larger sensor digital cinema camera, they fall in love with it. There's shallow depth of field, there's an increased dynamic range, it looks cinematic. And increasingly with live concert production, it's not just destined for DVD and home TV, it's also going out on cinema screens. So that's a big factor. Other things about the image quality, the global shutter. In a lot of concerts, there are a lot of flashing lights, things that rolling shutter cameras don't like. And this camera, I think, behaves more like a film camera. It renders strobes and things like that in a very flattering way. And then there's the resolution. Increasingly now, there's a multiple delivery format required. So even if you're shooting for HD, if you're shooting on a 4K sensor, there's a lot more information to begin with. So downsampled, the picture looks cleaner, more detailed. Beyond that, obviously, you can shoot simultaneously in different formats. So a concert film might have a 4K cinema release and then also go out in HD for television and DVD use.
Okay.
The final thing with the F55 is it's so flexible and modular. And what I need to be able to do on a production is start off with a camera package with a lot of cameras in it, typically a couple of dozen cameras, and be able to interchange parts and repurpose cameras and respond to the director's creative wishes. For example, they might suddenly turn around and say, I want these 3 cameras in 4K because I just want to be able to punch in on the image and reframe in post.
Right, so you'll mix it with 4K RAW for some positions, 4K XAVC for other positions?
Yes, correct. I mean, on the Katy Perry shoot, which we just did, we had a healthy budget, but not enough to shoot 4K RAW on every camera. We're talking about a couple of dozen cameras here. So what we did is the close-up cameras shot RAW and the very wide cameras shot RAW. So the director was able to capture all the extreme lighting effects, the pyrotechnics and what have you. And also for the close-ups of the artist, you had a lot more flexibility in grading to just make sure that she looked good.
Right. Okay, so with the Katy Perry production, it was actually quite an impressive team. You had Dun and Dusted production company, you had Lemac Australia, Reynolds, you had NEP and United, and you guys worked together very well, and it was a spectacular shoot.
It was a great shoot. It was a very good experience. I mean, I'm often brought into these situations because I'm equally comfortable in the world of film and that type of equipment, and also in outside broadcast and TV. The difficulty now is that there's a growing need for productions to combine the type of technology and the types of crew. So it's not a situation you can just walk into and automatically everyone knows how to make it work. You do need people who can stand in the middle and try and integrate. So that was my role largely, and also United, is from experience we've had over the last few years of shooting on every type of equipment you can name, is how to integrate the different worlds and start to get them working smoothly together.
Right, and then there's one other key feature, I think, is the live signal output, the live painting capability with 700
That's unique, because obviously some directors have a preference of which camera type they prefer to use, but there's no other system out there at the moment which can integrate as fully with an outside broadcast type of environment, where you can actually paint the pictures live and broadcast them live in a very usable and viewable form.
Right, okay, great, and the results they look spectacular. So we have one more clip to show. Peter Gabriel, give us a quick setup of that clip.
Well, this is a couple of years old, but this was my first experience of working with the CA4000 backs, which go onto the cameras. So we shot everything in 4K RAW, and then whichever camera positions were more difficult, as in we didn't have physical access to the cameras to reload cards or magazines, those had the new backs on and were painted live or else recorded 4K by remote. All right,
fantastic, mate. Brett Turnbull, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. So we have one more live concert clip to show you in 4K. Peter Gabriel, enjoy. All right, Brett Turnbull, ladies and gentlemen. Great footage. All right, Sony is the only manufacturer with acquisition and display technologies that can achieve high dynamic range for professional and consumer applications. Standard dynamic range, or SDR, is what we use today. The maximum picture brightness is 100 nits. For high dynamic range, the intent is to take advantage of the latest display technology to include much more picture information, pushing the display brightness to values 1000 nits and beyond. This requires cameras that can acquire a much larger dynamic range. The intent is not just for higher overall brightness, but to use more dynamic range in the image to convey the director's story. Our F55 and F65 CineAlta cameras are more than up to the task, as is our new 4K BVM X300 OLED reference monitor. It can output higher brightness, higher contrast, resolution, and color gamut. This combination produces and displays stunning HDR imagery. The new monitor does not contain scan conversions. Sony uses a true 4K TriMaster EL OLED panel capable of displaying 4K HDR content, and also displays wide gamut color, such as Rec 2020. Sony's TriMaster EL developed technology is so outstanding it was honored with a Technical Academy Award this year. Please congratulate our engineering team on this achievement. Thank you. Here at NAB, Sony is demonstrating comparisons between standard dynamic range and high dynamic range in several ways. We're showing HDR for the home on a prototype Bravia television, and we're also demonstrating high dynamic range content shot with our F55s and F65 cameras. It's amazing. You'll see spectacular details, color, highlight and shadow areas that cannot be seen in standard dynamic range. Finally, Sony has always supported the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences ACES initiative to build an optimized digital motion picture interchange framework that raises the state of the art to be a standard. The choice of Sony's 16-bit RAW capture for the F55 and F65 is the perfect fit with ACES version 1, enabling every bit of color depth and high dynamic range to be retained through post-production. Sony is proud to be a product partner, and please be sure to check out our products in the booth demonstrating the product partner logo for ACES demonstrations. I want to thank you for your time, and that's it from me. Back to Alex Shapiro. Thank you.
Good job, mate. Thank you, Peter. Among the more notable recent Sony developments is the Sony FS7 4K camcorder. Deliveries began this past fall, and its success has even surpassed even our highest expectations. We've doubled our production capacity just to keep up with the demand. This camcorder combines a 4K large image sensor, long-form recording, ergonomics, and native E-mount flexibility. And its new servo zoom lens makes the whole package even stronger. Its recent version 2.0 upgrade now delivers support for DCI 4K, XAVC interframe, Apple ProRes, and 4-channel audio. The FS7 is being used for any type of shooting where image quality and high and run-and-gun flexibility are needed. Now, the heart of our NAB story will always be broadcast technologies from ENG and field production to the studio and on air. Our XDCam series has become a de facto broadcast standard with more than 400,000 units delivered worldwide. New at this show is the PXW X320 XDCam shoulder mount camcorder. It combines 3 half-inch type sensors, support for MPEG and XAVC, and wireless streaming and file transfer. Wireless file transfer is now supported by many of our XDCam shoulder mount and Compact Pro camcorders. For broadcasters, getting footage from the field to air quickly and easily is always the goal. We're now going to show you a demo of just that with 2 of our field reporters out on assignment, Mike outside on the Strip in Las Vegas and Sarah in New York City. Okay, Mike, you're just outside the Mirage and the signal looks great. Tell us a little bit about how this demo is happening.
Sure, Alec. You're happy to be here, and thank you all for joining us today. So we're out here in front of the famous Mirage Volcano, and we're using Sony's PMW 300 camera equipped with the CBK WA100 wireless adapter to send you this signal over a single 4G LTE connection. Now, this is a great example of a very simple and low-cost method that could really help customers in many field applications. And now, that's one model here is only one of 10 or more models that we have that support this feature set. It's fantastic.
That's great, Mike. How are you making sure the signal is stable and looks so good?
Well, it's actually a special sauce, and it's new Sony technology, the PWS 100 RX1 network receiver system. This links our camcorders and live video systems sent over Wi-Fi, 4G LTE, or wired connections. Now, it can control camcorder connections, transmission bit rates, latency settings, and more. And on top of that, Sony's quality of service QoS technology maintains AV transmission integrity and brings packet loss down to near zero to prevent images from freezing or breaking up. Honestly, I'm blown away with what this can do. And again, this is just one model out of 10 in our lineup, or more than 10 in our lineup, that can do this.
Thank you, Mike. Our East Coast reporter, Sarah, is in the New York City area. Sarah, what's the weather like back home?
It's probably not as warm there as it is here, Alex, but it's a beautiful day, and we're so excited to bring you this demo. We are going live to you using a single 4G connection, connecting us from here to you guys in Las Vegas.
Was it easy to set up?
Very easy, just a few simple connections and settings, and now we're live on the air.
Thank you. Wasn't that great, everybody? Thanks, Sarah back east and Mike on the strip. That was an amazing example of our wireless technologies in action. Stop by our booth to see how Sony QoS is enhancing wireless workflows. Now, our wireless solutions are just one way to distribute content. IP distribution is another way where Sony is demonstrating leadership. Our industry is moving to new workflows, and IP-based technologies are playing a larger role, especially for high-end 4K production and transmission. At NAB, Sony is highlighting IP interoperability in many different ways through new technologies and new alliances. We're very proud to announce our collaboration with Evertz is continuing, integrating their software-defined video network solution with our IP live production system and networked media interface. Now, let's demonstrate our IP technology in action and take a very quick tour of the Sony exhibit. Dion.
Hey, Alec.
You're on. How's it going over there?
It's going pretty well. Things are coming together nicely. The booth looks beautiful. I'm happy to open up the doors tomorrow morning.
All righty. What have you got over there?
Well, we really focused on creating a booth this year that truly exemplified beyond definition. We wanted to make sure that it highlighted everything that Sony does in the production world. We connect with our end users from acquisition of 4K and beyond 4K, audio and video over IP, high dynamic range, audio, workflow automation, and managed services. And we really wanted to design a booth experience that was like no other. In this year's booth, we plan to introduce a number of new products that can only be described in one way: game changers. So I'm actually standing here in our creative software booth. I'm joined by Michael Bryant from our creative software team, and they actually have some game changers of their own to introduce this year. Is that right, Michael?
Yes, we do. We've got 3 stations set up here. The first station is we're going to be showing a brand new product, Catalyst Edit, and an update to a new version of Catalyst Prepare. And just like their names say, Catalyst Prepare is all about preparing your media for your final online session, your post-production. Catalyst Edit is all about a fast, focused editing experience that specializes in 4K, Sony RAW, XAVC. And so that's going to be pretty cool to see those brand new products. In the middle, we've got Vegas Pro 13, which we just released a few months ago, and last week released an update. So now it works with all flavors of XAVC. Down here in the last station, we've got some brand new products. We've got a new version of Spectral Layers Pro, a new update to SoundForce Pro for the Mac. And so between Mac giving you the waveform editing, Spectral Layers giving you all that fabulous spectral editing, you get a powerhouse of audio production right there in your PC or Mac.
Very cool. So what would you consider to be the biggest benefit to customers of Spectral Layers Pro?
The interface has been completely redesigned, so all the tools are much easier to access, and the interface allows you to get down to the frequencies that you really want to get working on, to whether you're doing enhancing the audio, you're doing sound design, you're recording, you're editing. These are the tools to go to give you the best audio editing experience.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Michael. Looking forward to seeing the display at the show.
Thank you.
And that's only just the beginning. There's so much more going on in the booth. And what I'd like to do next is go over to one of the mainstays of the Sony booth, and that is the camera set. And I'm actually joined by Joseph Shimizi, and Joe can give us a quick overview of what's going on in the worlds of Super 35mm and CineAlta cameras.
Thanks, Dion, and thanks everybody for joining us. On the digital cinema set, we've got our entire family of 35mm and CineAlta products, which the easy way to think about that is if you're watching major motion pictures or television today, especially anything that says 4K, you've watched some of the video that's made by our products. And here you can come down and test them and see them in each of different kinds of builds. You've got regular old movie making configurations, hybridized between movies and documentary. We've also got regular old ENG news builds for our cameras. So you can come down here and play with some of our toys. And we've also got some game-changing kind of fun stuff to look at for the future, which we have 8K transmission systems that you can kind of get a look at and stuff like HDR.
Got you. So the market has actually been responding to an announcement we made recently about the release of a 4K player. You know anything about that?
Yeah, the PMW PZ1, which is what we got right over here. This is for what a lot of folks have been asking ever since solid state happened. They miss the safety, the reliability of a deck. You know, having buttons to do things that you need them to do. Yeah. And Sony, we did that really well. We still do. And now we're taking that expertise and translating it into the solid state world with this device, the PMW PZ1. And just to tease, we've also made a very attractive price for it.
All right. That's good to know. Looking forward to hearing that announcement. Thanks very much, Joe. Cheers. So that's only a small portion of all that we have to offer. I'm actually going to start to make my way across the northern side of the camera set, and as you can see behind me, there's a lot of activity going on as we put the finishing touches on things. We have our pro media, we have our managed services, our archive solution products, and what I'm walking up to now is actually a fully functional 4K production truck provided to us by our friends over at Touring Video. By utilizing the power of Sony 4K cameras, the 4K server, 4K MVS switchers, and 4K monitoring, we have a fully functioning 4K truck that can be used as soon as it rolls off the show floor when the show completes. Directly across from the truck is our IP Live production area. Now, in IP Live production, it was so popular last year, we're actually once again doing a demonstration of remote live production from the Sony Pictures lot in Culver City, California, into the Las Vegas Convention Center. And that is by virtue of a connection created by our friends over at Level 3 Communication to provide that long-distance IP connectivity. Right next to it, as Alec just pointed out, we have a growing list of technology partners who now support Sony's IP Live network media interface technology, and we're also showing our IP Live production system, which can easily replace an SDI-based router or can be used for centralized transmission and production of video over IP signals. In this year's booth, we intend on making history. And to help everybody remember this historic moment, we've actually also placed some fun items like the social media kiosk, where visitors to the booth can come up, take an animated GIF, and share it on social media so they can be a part of Sony history as well. With more exciting news, I give it back to you, Alec.
Thanks, Dion, Michael, Joe, and thanks to everyone over at the Convention Center. Looks great. Now, I'd like to mention two more types of streaming that's taking place today. This press event is being streamed to public audiences worldwide through our press and Facebook pages, Sony Pro USA, and also separately by our new robotic PTZ camera, the SRG 300 SE, using Wowza video streaming services. Now, last year on this stage, Sony announced a pilot program with WGBH to explore new ways for public broadcasting stations to manage and distribute content. 1 year later, that pilot is now a full partnership, and the new service, Public Media Management, just went live on April 1st. PMM gives public TV stations new tools to engage with their communities now and into the future. The service manages and automates the entire content management and distribution process, from transcoding, ingest, and quality assurance to distribution of public TV content from the cloud and master control. The service uses the latest cloud computing and network services and a range of Sony technologies. Here's how it works.
Now, Sony and WGBH are introducing a better way. Public Media Management, or PMM, is the master control and media management system of the future. With PMM, instead of every station repeating all of that work, everything is done only once at a single network operations center. The PMM NOC records national content, checks it for quality, and prepares it for broadcast. Ready-to-air content is then sent to the PMM cloud. At your station, PMM installs a suite of technology called the Node that connects to the cloud through a 100 megabit internet connection, eliminating costly dedicated fiber. The national programs stored in the PMM cloud will download to your local storage ready for air when scheduled. The Node will also house your local content and branding and has the ability to record or play out directly from the satellite for live programming. Whether the content is local or national, the entire workflow is orchestrated by Myers ProTrack. There's unprecedented reliability because the PMM NOC is continually monitoring the streams, hardware, and software. Built-in disaster recovery ensures the node will continue to operate even if you lose your internet connection. Stations soon will be able to move local content to the cloud for archiving, content sharing, and cloud-based closed captioning and descriptive video services. Public Media Management will eliminate the costs of traditional master control, transforming significant capital expenses into a single, affordable operating expense. Reliable, affordable, trusted. Public Media Management.
And now to tell you more is Ben Godley, the COO from WGBH, and Sony's John Stoddard.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. At Sony, we're so excited about the joint venture with WGBH. This all started a couple of years ago when WGBH was looking to upgrade your master control. Can you tell us about what your objectives were?
Sure, yeah. So we're at our studios in Boston. It was about time for us to upgrade our master control equipment, long past its lifespan. Before we did that, though, I wanted to make sure we had the right leadership. We hired a great new CTO, a guy named Stacy Decker. He's here with us today. And Stacy had this vision to move us beyond traditional broadcasting equipment to media management in the cloud. And we've been moving a lot of our systems and business applications to the cloud so we can focus on what we do best. And our core business is really content production. Our goals were really simple. We wanted to save a lot of money, especially on those big capital refreshes that come every 5 or 7 years. But we also wanted to make sure that the station was positioned for distribution today and also in the future. As you know, it's a mobile IP-driven world, and we really need to serve our audiences with content when, where, and how they want it. After our very successful pilot that we had with you last summer, it was clear to us that the Sony cloud technology could create services that were great for GBH, but also something that we could use to benefit the entire public broadcasting system. Working with the Sony team, we've done a fair amount of custom software development to help you meet the needs of public television stations, and we call that service Public Media Management, or PMM.
It's fantastic. It's great when technology can meet the needs of our customers, and especially the vision that you had. Can you tell us a little bit about the technology that goes into PMM?
Yeah, sure. First of all, it's world-class technology, and the approach that you saw in the animation is very simple but very powerful. At the NOC and the nodes, Sony has integrated the best available hardware, software, and service providers. PMM gives a station tremendous efficiencies because we centralize content management, QA, and transcoding for them, and we've got more services coming. And PMM has unparalleled disaster recovery built in at the local level. And of course, reducing capital and operating costs is always the goal. It's probably about $1 million to refresh the average public media station's master control equipment. There are 171 entities broadcasting through 360 stations in the public television system. So that's a lot of capital towards equipment and operating costs with each station creating its own workflows for broadcast. With the Sony partnership, WGBH and Sony together, we bring a scale and an expertise that's been lacking in the system. All public media stations are nonprofits, and they want to reallocate the capital from costly infrastructure so they can invest their resources in educational content and services, which is really their mission. It's important that public television stations stay strong in distribution, and PMM is the only master control service that lets us do that.
I have to say, it sounds like a terrific solution as an owner. I appreciate that. Member stations, like all local stations, are faced with many challenges these days. How do you see PMM addressing those challenges?
Well, the challenge, of course, is to cost-effectively and efficiently deliver content to audiences on many different platforms. Putting content in the cloud, we think, is the smartest way to manage that challenge. PMM is incredibly powerful and flexible today, and it will be easy to build in other value-added services like closed captioning, archiving, storage, social media plugins, even editing in the cloud. It's easy to share content with other stations or other nonprofits in the communities of those stations, and to let audiences stream content on mobile devices. I think eventually we'll be able to integrate audience and donor data so that we can super serve these segments of viewers with personalized and customized content streams. PMM really opens up options for how local stations can deliver their content and how they can focus on their mission. And we're making sure that they're going to be ready for the future.
So it saves you upfront CapEx, it frees up your people to do original production, and it future-proofs you. Sounds like a great solution. Now, this was launched on Tuesday. How's everything going?
Tremendously well so far, John. We were at the PBS TechCon last week, where we previewed PMM to great response and interest. The service is now live at WGBH in our studios in Boston, right on schedule. We're in the final testing. We've got 2 of our 7 channels operating. Everything's working smoothly and looking fantastic. We are really very excited to be moving with you and the Sony team into the future. It's certainly a promising new era for public television.
We're equally excited. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
for
John.
joining us.
Thank you.
Fantastic. At the heart of PMM is Sony's Media Backbone Enterprise Management System, System Watch, and C, all key elements of our solution and workflow automation story. C Cloud Service is also an important part of our Sony's overall B2B business. Here to tell you more about C is David Rosen.
Thank you, John, and hello, everyone. 2 years ago, Sony introduced C, Sony's cloud-based media platform at NAB, with a simple goal: create a powerful and game-changing solution for media professionals. And being here 2 years later, I'm thrilled to say that we've made incredible progress. C Workspace has enabled professionals across the industry to adapt workflows, gather footage from around the world, produce pilots, and get films made under budget. Our collaborative video review experience has redefined expectations around the speed and ease of collaboration. And now, C's MediaBox capabilities are redefining digital distribution with innovative security, tracking, and analytics built into every delivery. And with an increasing number of large companies starting to use C, we've worked hard to implement critical features designed especially to meet their specific needs. Things like flexible administration, to give their organizations the capability to have the visibility and control they need while still giving their creative communities the freedom and flexibility they require to securely and collaboratively work beyond the company's usual firewalls. We've added more professional format support. We've added additional high-speed transfer options, cloud archiving, additional transcoding options, all within a single cloud media platform. From its inception, C was envisioned as the cloud platform that would bring real innovation to our industry. And while we're excited by our early success, we're nowhere near being done. On April 1st, we launched a new solutions group to harness the usability and scalability of C with the flexibility of Media Backbone and the innovation of optical disk archive, all together under the same virtual roof. We're really excited about it. This innovative suite of hardware and software changes the game at every stage of the media lifecycle, from capturing and uploading content with our industry-leading cameras and wireless adapters, to editing, collaborating, and reviewing content with the latest Catalyst production suite in C Workspace. Workflows and production tasks can be orchestrated and automated in Media Backbone. Content can be stored in C Cloud Archive for always-on access, and added to Optical Disk Archive for long-term on-site storage, so you get the best of both worlds, a hybrid cloud. These technologies allow Sony to evolve from providing point solutions to offering completely managed services, like you saw with public media management. And we're not the only ones building solutions on top of our amazing products. We provided an open API so anyone could add the rich collaboration capabilities into their existing applications or leverage the power of our cloud media platform to complement their own infrastructure. C is integrating with numerous third parties and application providers like Myers, SGL Broadcast, Adobe, On-Prem, and Crispin, just to name a few. These integration solutions alone are responsible for managing hundreds of thousands of hours of content. C has brought together teams, improved productivity, and streamlined production, and there's still more to come. Our diverse lineup of innovative hardware and software creates a powerful ecosystem that helps us develop future solutions to solve our customers' biggest problems, like cataloging massive libraries of content, driving archive and validation workflows, and even embarking in new vertical opportunities. We're extremely focused on delivering faster and better ways to create, manage, and distribute media, and we're just getting started. Thank you. Now back to you, Al.
Thank you, David. One more Sony workflow solution is Optical Disk Archive. It's a nearline and long-term archive solution for sports, news, film, audio, and disaster recovery. It is turnkey, customizable, and scalable. The system can simplify, protect, and reduce storage costs. And the addition of our new multi-ingest tape digitizing server is great for migrating, checking, and preserving valuable tape-based assets. The list of optical disk archive supporters is also growing. The Golf Channel, the Carolina Panthers, WRAL, Wells Fargo, the San Diego Padres, News 12, and more. Optical Disk Archive is also gaining support for partners in the US and worldwide. ASG, Storage DNA, ZenData, and Mastech are integrating Sony's optical disk archiving with their solutions for turnkey, nearline, and archive content storage. In other worldwide news, TV2 OJ, one of Denmark's largest regional television stations, is the first broadcaster to use Sony's integrated Synapse production platform and optical disk archive system for internet and TV content. Memnon Archiving Services and Sony's Media Lifecycle Service have partnered on a large-scale digital preservation project. And RAI, Italy's national public broadcasting company, has ordered several hundred XD-Cam camcorders, studio decks, editing drives, and stations. This expands RAI's XD-Cam stable to over 1,000 units. And in the UK, View International's National Theatre live production, Behind the Beautiful Forevers, is now being projected in Sony Digital Cinema 4K. Shot with Sony F55 cameras, it is now being screened at View's 83 locations. Now, April is one of my favorite times of the year, and it's not just because of NAB. It's a great time in sports. We got the Masters, March Madness, and of course, baseball. The 2015 Major League Baseball season opened just a few days ago, and several teams started the new year playing in either new or recently upgraded ballparks with AV systems designed and installed by Sony. Two of the newest projects are the Pirates PNC Bank Park and the Padres Petco Park. Sony's work with stadiums has also helped redefine the fan experience, and this also extends to interactive broadcasting where Sony is giving viewers the engaging experience that they've come to expect. The increasing use of second and third screens creates more opportunities for user-generated content, from broadcast TV to sports venues to mobile platforms like tablets and smartphones. We're excited to announce today a new agreement with Burst that lets broadcast sports and production organizations seamlessly integrate real-time UGC video without disrupting their current workflows. Working together with Burst, we can bridge mobile video content to live broadcast TV in a way that's never been possible before. As part of this agreement, customers using our broadcast and production systems can leverage the Burst video platform, creating a very low-cost way for them to generate exciting interactive video content. And another technology changing the way people watch sports is Hawkeye. It's been used on the biggest international sports events, Wimbledon, cricket championships, and badminton. Here in the US, it's been used for the US Tennis Open and NHL and MLB games. It's the world's top live sports tracking, replay, and production technology, and now we're going to make it more widely available to the US professional and collegiate markets. Today, we're announcing the establishment of Hawkeye USA, to be headed by Jason Bernstein, formerly of ESPN, where he had vast experience in digital media, broadcast, and content development. Hawkeye USA will give broadcasters and sports leagues a cost-effective way to maximize their event coverage based on Hawkeye's smart replay technology. This technology combines traditional, automated, and remote-controlled live production options with state-of-the-art replay technology, all in a way that doesn't break the bank. Hawkeye's services will expand to include more customized tracking and officiating software. Hawkeye technology also has the potential as a professional and collegiate coaching tool, offering instant data analysis, player and ball tracking, zoom, and multi-angle views. Now, Sony's certainly been a leader in sports and live event production, and Sony studio cameras are used in the US to capture over 80% of all primetime live entertainment and professional sports events. From the World Series on Fox, to Monday Night Football on ESPN, NFL football on CBS, NBC, and Fox, to the Super Bowl on NBC and the Final Four on CBS and Turner, Sony HDC cameras are the choice by every primetime broadcaster. Our next generation of HDC series camera technology solves many challenges faced by live event broadcasters. Shooting in 4K with large sensor cameras using wide zoom lenses while maintaining an adequate depth of field to show all of the action. The result of our user feedback is an industry-changing product that bridges the gap between high frame rate and traditional studio camera. It provides 3 specially developed 2/3 inch 4K sensors, B4 lens support, up to 8 times super motion, the sharpest, cleanest super zoom available, 4K HD flexibility, and HDC workflow. Now, joining me to unveil this new camera is my colleague from Sony in Japan, who led its development, Kiriyama-san. Please come to the stage. We're very honored that industry leaders from the sports and entertainment world who have already made a substantial commitment to this exciting new camera are also here with us today. Please welcome to the stage from Bexel, Tom Dickinson and Halid Haddock. From Game Creek Video, Pat Sullivan and Jason Taubman. You can come up, gentlemen. From NEP, George Hoover and Scott Rothenberg. From CBS Sports, Walter Rapps. From CBS Television City, Barry Ziegel. From Fox Sports, Mike Davies. And last but not least, from NBC Sports, David Mazza. All right. Come on down, guys. All right. This way, this way. All right. This wasn't rehearsed. All right, and now here is the HDC 4300. An unprecedented way to end our event today and to kick off NAB 2015. I want to thank you, gentlemen, friends, customers, and I want to thank everybody here today for your attention. Please stop by our exhibit over the next few days, get a closer look at all these new technologies. There's information and digital information online, and please follow us on Twitter using hashtag SonyNAB15. Thank you and have a great day.